Well, g'day curd nerds. G'day curd nerds. Well, 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 g'day curd nerds. Welcome to Ask the Cheeseman. This is the show where you can ask your home cheese making questions. Lots of people in the chat today. It's fantastic. Great to see so many of you. I'm very excited to be here as always. A big shout out, of course, to all of the financial members. We just had Donna and Ruth just re-sign or renew their membership. Thank you so much for that. And thanks to all of the other YouTube members who are in the big list. Thank you so much for your financial support. Also, a big thank you to all the patrons as well. Thank you so much for all of your patronage for all these years. It's absolutely fantastic to see. Thank you. Because without your support, we wouldn't have a show. So it just goes to say that your financial support is important for me to bring not only this live show on Sunday mornings my time and Wednesday nights my time, but all the other videos as well. Thank you so much. Okay, I've got some pretty cool stuff to share today. I got a letter from Margot and Guido. Now, for those who don't know, I did make a cheese way back when called Guido's Hard Italian Cheese, and I got it out of the what book did I get it out of? Is it here? Here it is. I got it out of Ricky Carroll's cheese making home cheese making recipes for 52 homemade cheeses, and I did a video about it after having seen quite a few people over on the Learn to Make Cheese Facebook page raving about this Guido's Hard Italian Cheese, so I just had to make it. So they sent Margot, Guido's wife, sent me an email. It was very nice. I'll share that in a minute. If I can find 146, there it is. I'll talk about it in a minute. Anyway, so sorry about that. I'm just getting the page open, ready to go. Just topping up with my morning coffee. Shameless merch plug. Now, for those who don't know who I am, I'm Gavin Weber, and I'm the host of the show and the Cheap Curd Nerd who will, like I said, attempt to answer your questions. Lots of people in the chat today. Fantastic to see. First cab off the rank today, I think, was... who the heck was it? It was Shauna. Hello, Shauna. Lovely to see you as always. And then Donna. Hello, Donna. And Ruth. Lovely to see you, Ruth. Who else we got? Patty. Hello, Patty. Cool Cat in Great Britain. Time zone pretty late at night, which is pretty cool. Great to see some people representing from the UK. Michael in Adelaide. Hello, Michael. Lovely to see you. And you say that Jenny has just wrapped camemberts and they look great. And you'll get to see Jenny's camemberts in the gallery. Now, at 30 minutes past the hour, we will be having the gallery. It is chock-a-block full of photos from you, the curd nerds, who send them in. So that's absolutely fantastic. I've also got Tracy from Cheese Needs. G'day, Tracy. Robert in Sydney. G'day, Robert. Lovely to see you, mate. Bill. Hello, Bill. John. G'day, John. Titus and Julia. And who else we got? Kevin. Hello, Kevin. How are you? Our Eagle, new to the channel. Lovely to see you. Simple Logic in Great Britain as well. Lovely to see everybody. So cool. So, like I said, gallery at 30 minutes past the hour. And we've got some jokes and stuff. Anyway, so let me just continue on with this Guido story before...
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet.
Ooh.
Take a look at the help section in your Alexa app.
I don't know why Alexa said that. Don't say a name. Don't say a name. Okay, before we get into questions, I'll just share this story. So that'll be really cool. Okay. Right. So back in the day, let me have a look. Where can I find it? All right. So if we go to the gallery, right. So here, looking for. Oh, that's not it, Gav. What are you doing? I want this bit. Hard Italian cheese. There we go. Here it is. So this video here. Oh, doggos. Right. So this video. Stop the video. Rightio. Oh, that's such an opportune place to stop. Right. So in this video, the easy Italian style cheese, ready to eat in 3 weeks, called Guido's. Beautiful cheese, just amazing. And the story goes, for those who haven't seen it, the story goes, when Guido and his American wife Margot moved from Italy to Pennsylvania in 1999, he discovered to his dismay that it was hard to find good Italian cheese that tasted the way it did at home in Florence. He decided to make his own, found New England cheese making supply on the internet and ordered rennet and a recipe for Parmesan. He was hooked. To make Christmas presents for December 2001, Guido and Margot drove 2 hours to Amish country to buy 24 gallons of milk, still warm from the cows. Every night for a week they made cheese in their kitchen and aged it in the cellar. We used a recipe that's a blend of different hard cheeses, Guido says. Family and friends love the cheese. And it goes on to say a whole bunch of other stuff. So, like I said, this is from Home Cheese Making by Ricky Carroll, and it's the 3rd edition. It's not in the 4th edition, this story. It's on page 146. Anyway, so that brings me to the email I received this morning. So the email says, where is it? Hello, Gavin. What a hoot to see a professional making Guido's cheese and satisfying that you like it too. And it's satisfying that you like it too. We'll be interested in what you think after it's been aged a bit. Brings back many memories over 20 years ago when Guido first started making his own cheese and we had to travel many miles to Lancaster County to find an Amish farmer who would sell us raw milk. It has since been legalised for sale. I also got a kick out of one of the comments in the video, re the name Guido being an ethnic slur. Oh boy. We hope to one day get to your neck of the woods and we'll look you up. And if you find yourself near Philadelphia, consider yourself invited to our home for a good Italian meal. We're less than an hour away. Cheers, Margot. Well, that was absolutely lovely. Thank you so much to Margot and Guido for reaching out, the creators of the Guido's Hard Italian cheese. I'm chuffed to bits, to say the least. So, yeah, that's really cool. It never ceases to amaze me, the people that I can reach, I suppose, using this forum. So cool. There you go. Hope you enjoyed that little story. Okay, we've got some questions, I think. Let's have a look. Julia says, good morning, hope you are well. Today I am cracking open a kafili. Nothing like the anticipation. Indeed. And, yeah, the pressure, I feel the pressure too, especially when I'm making a cheese for all of you to see. And when I first open it during that taste test, the anticipation is nerve-wracking, I tell you what, when I crack one open. I think it'll probably be a little bit easier for you guys, but depends on who your audience is. If you've got family and friends sitting around, and you've got your cheese there ready to go with your knife, and whew, whoa, hopefully it all tastes great. Fantastic. Thank you, Julia. Kevin says, hello, just back from a blistering hot Cancun, I don't know how to say that, and wish I was still there. Oh, well, it's probably cold where you are now, Kevin. Right, here we go. Eagle says, hi, Gavin, can you please explain how the holes were initiated in Swiss-type cheese before Propionic Shamani was discovered? WD. Dried clover blossoms work possibly. And just about to fill moulds with 4 canned blues right now. Thanks, Eagle, for the question. So how was it discovered? Well, it was native in the flora that the cows ate in the Swiss Alps. So Propionic Shamani was a native was lactobacteria. It's a bacterium. And it is native to that area. So it creates the holes. Well, it did before the discovery of the bacteria. It created the holes naturally. So it wasn't until home cheesemakers like us or other people wanting to replicate that recipe who were not in that local area around Switzerland, then yeah, they could do that. So that's so cool. Oh, I got a super chat there. Thank you so much, Ruth. We'll get to your question next. Thanks a million for the $20 US. So that's what happened. It was native to the area. So like I said, it wasn't until the discovery of the bacteria by biologists that that it was available to everybody to replicate that style of cheese. So it was a bit of a mystery for them. All right, now on to Ruth. Thank you, Ruth, for the $20. Very cool. It says, can Caerphilly be aged as a natural rind? Yes, it can. In fact, the one I just did, that was rubbed. It was certainly had a natural rind. It says, or does it have to be waxed or backpacked? I accidentally popped my Christmas Caerphilly in the brine. Yikes. I realised it 5 hours later. What is the likely damage? Thanks. So the likely damage is it'll be too salty, maybe. Because remember when we're making the Caerphilly, for those who haven't watched the recent video, you add salt to the curds when you mill it and then press it, and then you rub salt every time you flip it to help develop that rind a lot faster. Remember, Caerphilly's only a cheese that's aged for 3 weeks. So, so that's what you do. So if you put it in brine for 5 hours, it's absorbed more salt. So I don't know how salty you want your cheese. So, but yes, definitely natural age rind. However, I looked at there's some photos in the gallery from Ruth for her Christmas Caerphilly. Because Caerphilly's such a moist cheese, Ruth, you may have done yourself a favour with that brining, because it'll form a natural rind a bit harder. But because you got fruit sticking out of the rind, it's probably best to either wax or vacuum pack it, because it's such a moist cheese, it develops a lot of mould on the outside that you do have to wash off. So hopefully that answered your question, and thank you so much for the $20, Ruth. Appreciate it. Jim says, howdy, Sir Gavin. Trust that Kim is attending to the puppos. Yeah, indeed. She is having her Sunday morning sleep in with the doggos all snuggled up. It's a bit chilly here at the moment. I don't know what the temperature is. 7 degrees, Alexa tells me. So, yeah, very... I better turn her mic off. She gets a bit excited. She's in bed with the doggos, which is cool. Right, next question is from Jack. Jack says, what could happen if the temperature got too high in my milk whilst making cheddar? It was pasteurised and homogenised. Okay, so when you go over the target temperature for that recipe, Jack, what happens is the curds will be smaller, they'll shrink. So your cheese will be less moist when it's finished. It'll also be probably crumbly The acid development will be a little bit higher too, which also tends to be a problem with crumbly cheese. So that's the two things that possibly could happen because the temperature is too high. Now, by too high with a cheddar, hopefully you didn't go over about 39 Celsius, because the mesophilic starter culture may become inactive as well, and you may not get the acid development that you require for a cheddar. So there's some things that could go wrong. Okay, next question's from Patty. Says, out of curiosity, is there any way to age cottage cheese? I wouldn't think so, but I was surprised when I learned ricotta could be. Yeah, a ricotta is a lot drier than what cottage cheese is when you heavily salt it. So you can age ricotta. It's called ricotta salata, which means salty ricotta. It dries out. It dries out very quickly. You couldn't do it with cottage cheese. It's got way too much moisture in it. As far as lactic bacteria, as it gets older, it tends to get a little bit sourer, so it probably wouldn't work very well. But certainly a heavily salted ricotta salata will work because it hasn't got as much moisture if you've pressed it as well. So, yeah. Okay. Ruth says, hello, Gavin and Kim and World of Curdiners. Greetings from chilly San Francisco. I did not realise my subscription run out. Well, I'm back in. Thank you so much, Ruth. Okay. The scrolly thing scrolls so fast. I missed some of the questions. Let's have a look. Where are we? Okay. Jawad, I think that's how you say it, says, hi Gavin, I'm on a quest to make an authentic cannoli, and that requires sheep's milk ricotta, which is nowhere to be found. I'll have to try to make it myself. Sheep's milk is also scarce. And then goes on to say, I've never had a sheep's milk or its ricotta, so I'm wondering if you could describe the difference between cow's milk, ricotta, and maybe how they manifest it in cannoli. Okay. So sheep's milk ricotta, I have made it actually, and it is absolutely delicious. The difference between cow's and sheep's milk is that sheep's milk is a lot higher in fats and proteins, up to 10% compared to cow's milk, where the max is usually around 5%, depending on the breed of cow that you milk. So sheep's milk is very high in fat, which is great. It's got a more creamier texture. It's definitely got a different taste. So if you've tasted a hard Manchego style cheese, which is made with sheep's milk, compared to say a Vecchio Romano, which is made with cow's milk, then the difference is chalk and cheese. One has a very white paste, remembering that sheep's milk doesn't have a lot of beta-carotene in it, so it doesn't go yellow like cow's milk does, which has a higher content of beta-carotene. So the flavour is totally different between sheep's milk, ricotta, and cow's milk. So that's, I don't know how they do that, but or why they would use cow's milk ricotta in cannoli. So, and also the difference between true ricotta made with whey and ricotta made from milk. Okay, so right, so like as I mentioned, so true ricotta made from whey is very smooth if you do it right. Any ricotta can be mucked up if you use too much acid. I tend to, when I'm making ricotta, I add just a little bit of acid, whether that be citric acid or vinegar, acetic acid, just a little bit at a time until I see the ricotta start to form. When the milk gets up to about 92 degrees Celsius. Ricotta made from whole milk is basically a white cheese. It's kind of like ricotta, but not true ricotta. And it's a lot grittier until they actually add cream, and then they kind of blend it and break down the structure of the ricotta. So it's a lot different in texture from whey ricotta. Hope that answers your questions. Eagle says, okay, this is about the propionic shamani. Says, I have read it was flecks of hay that caused it. Thanks kindly. Yeah, I haven't seen anything to that end. I think that it was definitely natural in the pasture, and obviously it transfers to the milk. So, okay. Next question is from Simple Logic. Says, I suppose you've already covered this question in previous lives, but do you have any comments for using double bath containers and sous vide? Yes, indeed I do. I've made a video about it, and let me see if I can find it. Okay, what did I call it? Did I call it sous vide? I did. Look at that. Alrighty, so I'll share that clip in the chat, and everybody will be able to see it, which is great. Alright, so this is the link to the sous vide video, and yeah, you should be able to see it all there. Thanks for asking the question. Boris says, G'day Gavin, Comrade C here. Oh, okay, you changed your YouTube account to my actual name. Thank you, Boris. Hope you're having a great day indeed, and thank you for your young membership, which is very cool. Thank you so much. Shauna says, there are any cheeses? Oh, hang on. Sorry. Are there any hard cheeses that are not suitable for cold smoking? Well, none that I know of. Obviously, harder cheeses are best for cold smoking. Soft cheeses really don't tend to absorb the carbon and tannins that the smoke puts off and gives the flavour. But I don't think there are any that aren't suitable for cold smoking. Which one are you thinking of, Shauna? Let me know in the comment. That'd be fantastic. And I'll give my advice for what limited advice I have on cold smoking. Okay. Nice coffee. Some bloke off the internet says, is there a way to put moisture back into a cheese? Ooh, that's a good one. I really messed the humidity up with the cheddar and it's rock hard. I have vac packed in the hope of evening out the moisture that's left. Don't like your chances. Once that moisture has evaporated, then yeah, you've got very rock hardy sort of cheese. Not that good. Yeah, so, yeah, look, I don't know, maybe vac packing. The moisture doesn't come from anywhere except for the air. And when it evaporates, it's gone, basically. The only thing you could use for your cheddar is to cook with it. That's the only thing I would do with it. If it's rock hard like that, grate it and cook with it. You put it in cheese sauces, that sort of stuff. That's the only thing I can think of that you could use it for. Anybody else, chime in the comments. That'll be cool. Okay. Old Tug says, and welcome to the show. Hi Gavin, here is your very old subscriber here, I think for 6 years, from Turkey. I hope everything is great in Australia and your life. Thank you so much, Old Tug. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. But, and then you go on, I am texting you from Turkey home as a homemade beer making subscriber, and I live in a country who has a big commercial crisis. Everything is so expensive. Will you make some budget-friendly cheese? Well, I'm pretty sure most of the cheeses that I make, certainly the fresh cheeses anyway, they're all very budget-friendly. And for a country like Australia here where we can't get too many cheap import cheeses, because they're all very expensive, the imports, then it's cheaper for us to make it here ourselves, which is great. And, you know, the quality, I can't say for the quality because there's so many imported cheeses that I've never tasted before because we can't get them. And Australia has a ban on some raw milk cheeses. We just can't get them. So budget-friendly cheese, as far as I'm concerned, all the cheeses that I make are budget-friendly. So, yeah, there you go. That's all I can say about that. Okay. Fun Pants says, I've been struggling with aging my cheeses and keeping mould at bay. After the last, I'm debating whether I should start doing various rubs on the outside of my cheese instead of milling it in. Think that would work. Well, I certainly found that the rub. Oh, you added something to that. It says after the last video. Sorry. Okay, so back to the. There we go. So the I lost my train of thought. Right, so the smoky paprika rubbed kefili. Indeed, the colour was there. And that was cool, but oh, got a super chat. Goodness me, my train of thought was getting mixed up. Thank you, Seal, for that. I will get to that in a second, but thank you so much for the $20 Australian. I greatly appreciate it. Anyway, back to Fun Pants 94's question. So yeah, the rub did keep the mould at bay. I was very surprised because I naturally aged that kefili in a ripening box. And normally kefili is just covered in mould. You may have seen a previous kefili recipe that I did, and it was just covered in white mould, which I never introduced to the cheese. But the great thing about kefili is the rind is very well formed when you're air drying, because of all that extra salt that you rub onto the outside of the rind during pressing. That helps develop the rind very quickly indeed and lock in a fair bit of that moisture in the cheese, so it's a fairly moist cheese in the centre. So rubs, yeah, do tend to prevent a bit of mould. Now I did keep rubbing it twice a week, so with the smoky paprika and the olive oil, and there were little spots of mould as you saw at the end of the video there, but if I had kept rubbing that would have gone away as well. So yeah, I think that'll work if you want to do that. Look, other than that, if you don't want to develop natural rinds, then it's probably best if you just wax or vacuum pack. It's probably the best thing. Now, the super chat from Seal says, hello. Oh, there it is. It's $20. There's no comment in there, but there is a comment here somewhere. Seal says, loved your new episode you made from gallery submissions, Gavin. I've never submitted before, but I will help keep those going. Thank you so much. I appreciate your feedback on that video. Okay. Fun Pants says, when would you use calf versus lamb lipase? So calf is milder, lamb is the strongest. So it depends on the strength of the piquant flavour that you want to add to the cheese. So it's your personal preference. I'm not going to tell you when to add what type of lipase. So yeah, it's up to you. Just knowing that calf is milder than lamb, I use calf lipase, which is easier to get. Okay. Jawad says, thank you for the question, for the answers. Sorry for the ridiculously lengthy question. Not at all, mate. Not at all. That's what I'm here for. Brendan says, hey, Gavin, I can't stay today as I'm going to make the smoky paprika. Ooh, it's the time for the gallery. Smoky paprika kefili today. I just wanted to stick my head in for a tip for you and all the curd nerdettes and nerdlings. Right. Brendan says, you know how brine has a habit of forming mould on top when it sits in the fridge unused for a while. I found that if you put it in the freezer, nothing grows on it or in it. Oh, that's fantastic. That is a good tip. And then you just defrost it when you need it. Yeah, I couldn't see any issue with that, actually. That'd work really well. Well done, Brendan, for bringing that to my attention. I haven't got a big freezer, so I probably couldn't do it myself. But anybody who has, that's absolutely fantastic. And one last one before the gallery. Shauna says, for cold smoking, I was thinking Manchego, Guido's, Kefili, and probably not a wine-soaked cheese. Would that work? Manchego, yes. Guido's definitely. That'll absorb the smoke flavour really well. So will the Manchego. And Caerphilly, yeah, you could definitely smoke a Caerphilly. But you wouldn't be able to do the wine-soaked one. Yeah, you're right, because the flavours will go a bit funky. Alrighty, so let's get on to the gallery. And lots of people asking questions and stuff. But I may miss some of those. But anyway, we'll get to the gallery. So let's do that first. Let me just bring it up, make sure it all works. And who's that from? Right, so first one is from, can I move that out the way so I can get to this? Here we go. Alrighty, so this first picture, and thank you for everybody who sent them in today, I really appreciate it. This one's from Evan Fitz. Now, the photos are not, they were really small, so I had to blow them up, and you'll see when I get to the next one, but hopefully the resolution's not too bad and you can see this. So it says, hi Gavin, please find attached some pictures for the gallery. Here's a quick summary of each. Vegemite cheese. I don't know if this is a cheddar or what. Here's a wheel of Vegemite cheese I mentioned a couple of weeks ago. Let me tell you that this one is delicious. It has a mild yet very identifiable Vegemite flavour. Not overpowering in any way. More of a rich umami flavour. Highly recommended. Goes well grilled on toast. Fantastic. Right, so that's the size of the picture. Hang on, I'll just make it a bit bigger and you should be able to see that. Right, it says Vegemite number 2. Here's that bad boy cut. The marbling wasn't as pronounced as I was hoping. I might leave the annatto out next time, and there will be a next time. This one has proved to be very popular. Fantastic. It looks lovely. Really good. Yeah, if you did leave the annatto out of the cheddar, which I assume this is what it is, then yeah, the bits in the middle, the white bits, would be more pronounced, and the Vegemite veining would be, or marbling would be much, much better. Okay, this is also from Evan, and I'll make it bigger. There we go. It says, this is Sel's birthday platter. I made a platter for my better half, Selena. Clockwise, we have Evan Bear, like Camembert, but better. Love it. Dark ale and mustard cheese. Jarlsberg, Gouda, and marinated feta. Absolutely fantastic. The next photo is also from Evan. I'll make it bigger. There we go. So this is the camembert that was on the platter. It says, I think this one speaks for itself. My colleagues are all a bit miffed at me because I ruined store-bought camembert for them. Indeed, store-bought camembert is a lot different to what a good camembert, raw milk camembert can be. And last but not least for Evan, here we go. Whoop, oh, too big. This one is Castle Blue. It should be ready in about 2 weeks. I have a Farmhouse Blue that should be ready around the same time. Fingers crossed, for they are my first attempts at blue. Well, so far so good, Evan. Looks pretty good. You should get some good veining in there. It says, anyway, mate, I thought I'd show off some of my red cheeses you inspired me to make. Thanks for all your hard work educating us mere curdy mortals. Take care, Evan. Thank you, Evan. Appreciate it, mate. All right, so the next photo, this is from Michael and Jenny, and I think Michael's in the chat and Jenny's watching. Thanks for sending this in. It says, good morning, Gavin. Camembert at day 11. Jenny thinks it's time to wrap, and he said in the chat that it is. They are wrapped now. They look lovely. They got a lovely coating of white mold on them. Now, it says, just finished watching your video on what's in the cheese cave, so I decided to show you what's in our cheese caves. Plural, as you can see. There's a fridge on top of a fridge. So let's go down the list. We'll go down the left-hand side first. So chili pepper cheddar, smoked salt cheddar, double Gloucester, marbled cheddar, Asiago and Caerphilly. There's 2 halves there. Guido's, wine-infused cheddar, Jenny's Camembert, and then on the right-hand side, peppercorn cheddar, stout cheddar, Monterey Jack with truffle, Havarti, mustard seed, our first cheddar, Parmesan, and mead-washed Alpine. Now that's quite a collection, Michael. That is amazing. Michael and Jenny, well done, you avid cheesemakers over there in Adelaide. And you got a couple more photos. Where is it? That is a mead-washed Alpine-style cheese, which looks like it's still being washed, it's going to taste absolutely fantastic. And there's the Camemberts again at day 10. Oh, right, so a bit of a time warp. We went backwards in time. So, yeah, you can see that they got a little bit more mould coverage in a day or so that's good. Thank you very much for sending that in. So our next one is from Ruth. And Ruth is a long-time patron and member and YouTube watcher. Thank you, Ruth. Appreciate it, mate. Okay, so this is Ruth's cheese for Christmas. So this is Caerphilly with cranberries, and it's a massive looking cheese. This is yesterday I made my Christmas cheese. Here it is for next week's gallery. Sending love to you and Kim. Thank you so much, Ruth. That's a great looking cheese. I love the cranberries in there. Big chunky bits. And there it is. It's 3.545 kilograms. That's massive. That is such a big cheese. But yeah, Ruth, you may have to vacuum pack that because it's going to be hard to keep the mold off it, as you mentioned in your super chat. So yeah, very interesting. Great looking cheese. So the next cheese, this also is from Ruth. She sent this in late yesterday. Well, actually this morning my time. And you can see that it's a Jarlsberg, a natural rind, perfect rind. I love it. And the eyes are just magnificent. So beautiful eye development there, Ruth. And I bet the cheese tasted very, very nutty. So yeah, and in such a big form, you'll get that flavour throughout. That's beautiful. This one is from Scott. Scott's got a bit of a spiel, and he's got quite a few photos here too. So this is says, "Hi Gavin, here is the pepper craze cheese cut open." I think we showed this in a previous gallery, the uncut one. It says it's a fairly balanced pepper medley of black, green peppercorns, chili peppers, and Szechuan pepper in Calchago, which is his version of Manchego. Seeing Manchego is made with sheep's milk, he's called it Calchago because he's used cow's milk. Perfect. It says, I used the Manchego recipe from 200 Easy Cheeses by Deborah Amram Boys. It says, for 4 gallons or 15.1 litre batch, I used 4 teaspoons of crushed black peppercorns, 4 teaspoons of crushed green peppercorns, 4 teaspoons of red pepper flakes. Red pepper. Is that capsicum or chili? You'll have to let me know. And 1 teaspoon of crushed Szechuan pepper. The overall effect is a broad pepper flavour without any one being too strong, at least to my palate. Okay, that is absolutely fantastic. And there's another picture there. It's a good looking cheese, really does. That's very visually appealing. The next one is from Scott as well. Says, here's a few more pictures of cheeses that I've finished aging and what I've been working on the last 2 days. I've been vac packing all cheeses except for mould ripened as soon as they are dry after brining. How much does that affect cheese compared to natural rind aging? Good question. And while we're here on this one, this is a Gruyere. Natural aged cheeses tend to be drier. The rind does lock in some of the moisture, but Gruyere, as you can see here, would be a lot drier. And the rind obviously would have all sorts of funky colours on it. But yeah, it's when you vac pack, you've locked in the moisture for good, and it's not going to evaporate during the maturation process. This is another one from Scott. This is a pepper jack from using my recipe by the looks of it. Yep. And Some nice chili through there as well. Looks absolutely fantastic. And this is a tome from Giannicus Corwell's book. So very cool. Good looking cheese. And then I love the press. So this is a whey ricotta salata in the press at the moment. I love the car jack. I actually very first experience with the cheese press was on the cheese making course that I went on back in 2009 when I first learned how to make cheese. And they used a car jack as well. Very similar to this, actually, but they tightened it like way too much, over-tightened it, and squeezed all of the fat out of the cheese. It was just shocking. But this looks very precise, I can say. Thank you, Scott, for sending that in. Fantastic. This one's from Tracy, Mother of Cheeses. Where are we? We've got a bit of a spiel here from Tracy. This one says, my little one is away on vacation, so I've got a lot of time, me time. This is a 2-week-old cloth-bound cheddar, a little mould growing on it, but I'm leaving it, as you should too, Tracy. You will get all sorts of moulds on the outside. But yeah, good-looking cheese. This next one is also from Tracy. It says, this is a 1 pound yesterday's, and I can see your thumb for comparison. So what's 1 pound? 450 grams for those non-imperial types. It says, I'm making gift cheeses for the next few days as there is parties for Halloween, etc. Very cool indeed. I like your yesterday's recipe. I'll have to make a video on it, as I think I promised before, but I never got around to it. Also, Tracy has sent in some camemberts for Sunday's class, so day 6. These are 3 inches wide and will be perfect in about 4 weeks. I prefer a firm paste. Have a great weekend. Indeed, that looks really nice. And yeah, when you wrap them, they should be very, very cool when they've got a full coating. And Tracy does teach cheese-making classes in Port George. I hope I got that right. Or was it Port Prince? Port George. in British Columbia, in Canada. Very cool. Fantastic. Now, do I have any more? No, that is the end of the gallery. Just switching back to the main screen. Thank you so much to everybody who sent those in. If you want to send in photos as well, then you can. Let me just have a quick look if I can bring this up, how we do this. Let's go back to the channel. Alrighty, so what we do is we go to the main channel on a browser, not on iOS, not on the apps. It has to be the browser version, unfortunately. And you go to the About tab just over here. And down here, you go to Details for Business Inquiries, View Email Address. And I'm not going to click it because then I'll be spammed by thousands of robots. So anyway, there is the email address. That's where you find it. You got to be logged in to see it, or it won't show you. So yeah, very cool. Now, one before I go from the main channel page, is one feature that I'd like to share with you that YouTube have just introduced. So everybody knows the homepage tab, and you can see that, and it's got all my playlists and all that sort of stuff, right? Now, what they've done, they've separated videos, shorts, and live streams. They've got their own tabs now. So this is so cool. So if you want to go and see cheese making videos, the full-length videos, then the feed is not interrupted by all the other live streams and stuff, because I'm quite a prolific live streamer lately. And you can see all the cheese making videos. Nothing interrupting them. There's just all the cheesy videos. So that's very cool. And then if you want to look at any shorts that I've made 4 so far. I'm going to be making some more. You can go to the shorts tab, and then you can go to the live tab, and you can see replays of all of the live streams. So there's one that's live right now, obviously. It's the one you're watching, which is this one here, which says it's live, which is good. But yeah, there's all the previous versions, and yeah, it's all very cool if you want to go back and look at replays and stuff like that. Anyway, back to my head. So that's very cool. I like that feature that YouTube's added in. So that's also in the iOS and Android apps as well. It's got those little tabs, which is very cool. Anyway, thank you so much to all the people that sent in stuff today, the photos. It's very cool. Tracy says, I was very close about the where she lives. It's Prince George. There you go. I had a mix-up of all the words. So, British Columbia. So that's where she teaches. And she's a very good teacher, from what I've seen. Okay. So, any questions that happened before... before I can't see, so I can't put them up on the screen. Anybody who's speaking in what looks like Turkish, I can't understand it. So Oltug says, and thanks for that, to Ak Forkra, let's talk in English so other subscribers can understand us as well. I think you are Turkish. Where are you living? Are you an Aussie too? So yeah, thanks for that, because nobody else can understand it. H7 Apollo says, will curd chunk sizes be discernible in the end product? Curd size always matters when you're making a cheese. So the size you cut the curd of the cheese depends on how much whey gets locked into the cheese and how moist the final cheese will be. So it definitely does matter. So when I do state in the recipes the size of the cut, try and be as accurate as possible, or you won't get the same result as I do. If you see me stabbing the curds with a whisk and making really small grains of curd after it's been heated up, then that will tend to be a drier, long-aged cheese. And those cheeses that have very fine grained curds tend to be the grainy ones, like Grana and Parmesan, and the cheese that shall not be mentioned, of course. So, yeah, very interesting a very interesting question. So, yeah, that's what curd size determines, how much moisture is locked in and the end texture of the cheese. Ak Forkra says, I'm in Russia, not many delicious cheeses here. Are there any Russian fellas? I'd love to hear your advices. Yeah, anybody in the chat? So very cool. H7 Apollo says, nice feature. I didn't realise that. Yeah, it's only just happened. Happened this week, that YouTube, the extra tabs. So it's so easy to sort videos on the channel now, which is really good. Ruth says, very cool. I am a binge replay watcher. As we well know, Ruth. But yeah, it's good. You can separate it out, and then you can just play one, and if you've got auto play, it'll play the next one, hopefully. Now, if you do, I looked last night, I looked at the live streams, and I scrolled down, because I need to Ask the Cheeseman is my live stream, right? So I scrolled down, and it got to number 19, and then there were none others, and I went, hang on, that's a bit confusing. Where are all the other Ask the Cheesemen? And then I remember that originally I did Ask the Cheeseman as a recorded session. So I recorded Ask the Cheeseman and just used questions out of comments and emails and things that I got. So there was number 1 was live, and that was absolutely shocking. Worst video I've ever made, I think. Number 19 wasn't that much better, but was the first real live stream. And things have got, obviously, much better since then, so that's cool. Seal says, what are people using to do a cold smoke? I've been eyeing off one of those glass domes with the smoking pot on top. I do loads of hot smoking in my offset firebox smoker, but not cheese. Yeah, so look, I can just show, I'll put the link to the video of my one. Now, can I do that? Thank you, Anthony, for becoming a member. Let me just find that back on my channel again. Hopefully it won't auto play and wreck the music. There we go. All right, so looking for the link for smoking cheese. I have done a video on it, Seal, so I'll just bring up the cheese. Where are we? Share. It's a long way to get the thing. Anyway, so here's the link, Seal, to the cold smoking video. I just did it with my barbecue. It was a hooded barbecue here in Australia, so it worked fine. I could pull a little thing from Bunnings, little smoker thing. Seemed to work all right. Or you can get a tube where you can put pellets in, and you just you burn some of the stuff first, the pellets, and let it smoke. Put that into a barbecue as well. That seems to work all right. But we've got some comments coming back. Fun Pants says for cold smoking you can put wood chips or, wood pellets in a foil tube, make a tube and poke holes for ventilation, light it so it smokes your grill without adding heat. Indeed, and as I found with the way I cold smoked, don't put your cheese over the top of the smoke because it melts some of the cheese, because contrary to popular belief, even using cold smoking technique, there was a little bit of heat there with the device I was using anyway, so just put it to the side, offset it a little bit, and the chamber will fill with smoke and your cheese gets all yummy. And some good stuff there. Some other tips from Bill says for cold smoke, buy a smoke tube, add pellets, light it up, cheap, like 10 to 15 bucks US. Indeed, so yeah, some great tips there. Patty says, what is lipase? I've seen it in your videos, but I don't know what it is. It's a pre-gastric enzyme. I think the enzyme comes from the back of the tongue of the calf, kid, or lamb. I'm pretty sure that's where lipase comes from. There is vegetarian lipase, but it doesn't taste very good as far as in the final cheese. From what I've heard, I've never been able to find it myself. So that's a bit interesting. But lipase is indeed essential if you're using pasteurized milk, because it gets destroyed during pasteurization, as well as some of the calcium, which is why you need to add calcium chloride to your milk as well. Okay, what's the time? I haven't gone over time. We've got 7 minutes left. 7 minutes left. Is there a question? Okay, is there another question? There's something about... Right, I might have missed the first part of this question. It says, dry thistle flowers to curdle milk in cheese. Your cardoon thistle is used to make softer style cheeses, not harder ones. It tends to... the cheese tends to go bitter when you age it for longer than a month or so. From what I've heard. So, yeah, there you go. Cheese Need says, now you're a pro. Well, thanks, mate. Appreciate it. I think we're talking about the live streams. I hope that's the context. I hope I haven't missed that. Alrighty. Ruth says, miss you, Kim. I will tell her, Ruth, that she knew. I actually mentioned to her after last week's show, because so many people were asking, where's Kim? Says, thanks, Gavin, for another great chat. So happy when I see the whole thing. Thanks for answering my questions. See you all next time. Thank you, Ruth. I haven't quite finished yet, but thank you so much for watching. And I'll tell Kim that she's missed. I did ask her if she wanted to go on the Wednesday evening show, because like I've said many times before, I'm an early bird and she's a night owl. So she's fresher in the evening where I'm not. And I like to get up very early. About 6 a.m. is my time. The doggos normally get me up. So I'm here anyway. But yeah, I will tell her that she's missed. Okay, and Bill says that cold smoking is a cold weather sport. Indeed, don't do it when it's 30 degrees Celsius outside. Do it in winter is the best time. Alrighty. Yeah, so cool. That's it, I think. A bit of a blank there. Very cool. Now, if I didn't get to your question, I'm so sorry. If you want to skip the queue on the questions, especially when there's so many, we've got so many people watching today, which is fantastic. You can always hit a super chat, and not only will the Curd Nerd like go up, you will go to the top of the queue. Anybody who pays for a question, obviously a super chat, will get there first. Anyway, we're finishing the show now, so thank you everybody. I really appreciate it. Now, if you want to learn how to make cheese, don't forget that you can go over to the Curd Nerd Academy at courses.littlegreenworkshops.com.au, and I've got a beginner's course there. Many people watching the show at the moment right now have actually done that course and really have enjoyed it and learned a lot out of it. So go and check that out. If you want to go and buy any cheese making supplies, we ship to quite a few countries. Pop over to littlegreenworkshops.com.au. And if you want to get any merch, I've got a merch link that actually works. It's called merch.cheeseman.tv. And you can pick up things like my book that's pinned. This is the second book that's pinned in the chat. Keep Calm and Make More Cheese, which has a comprehensive troubleshooting section as well as lots and lots of recipes. About 75 recipes at last count. So that was fantastic. Anyway, thanks for watching, Curd Nerds. I appreciate you and all of your cheeses, and have a fantastic week making cheese in your own kitchen or wherever you make your cheese. I will see you on Wednesday evening my time. If I don't, then I'll see you next weekend. So, thanks for watching, Curd Nerds, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.